Hi and welcome to this course. In this video lesson, I'll be talking about the code editor I'll be using throughout this course. Okay, so I'll be using the Visual Studio Code Editor throughout this course, and if you want to use any other code editor like Atom or Bracket or Sublime Text, then please feel free to do so. But I'll be using the Visual Studio Code, and if you want to get Visual Studio Code, then you can go to Google and you can search for VS Code or Visual Studio Code, and then click on this first link, which is from code.visualstudio.com. Okay, so just click on that, and then you will see the download button over here. So just download it. I am using a Mac machine, that's why it's saying download for Mac. If you're using a Windows machine or a Linux machine, then it will say download for Windows or download for Linux. Okay, so just download this software and then install it. I have already installed Visual Studio Code, so I'm not going to reinstall it. And after you have installed it, just open it. So I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code, and after opening the Visual Studio Code, you can just minimize this Chrome browser, and then you need to create a folder somewhere on your drive. And I'm going to create a folder on my desktop, and I will create a folder and I will name it JS course. You can name it anything you want, but I'm naming it JS course. After creating the folder, just open this folder inside of the Visual Studio Code. So I'm just going to drag this and it will open it in the Visual Studio Code. If you can't do it like that, then you can go to file and then you can click on open and open this folder from this button. Okay, now after opening this folder, we need to create some file inside of this folder. So just click on this JS course folder over here and then click on this icon. Okay, and then create a first file which will say index.html. so we are creating an index.html file to write some HTML. Alright, now I am assuming that you know some HTML, and if you don't, then don't worry about it, just write whatever I'm writing here. So just type HTML and then click on this one. So HTML column 5, just click on this one and it will give you the basic structure of the HTML. And after that, just go inside this body and then write the script. So just use this script here and then close this like so, and hit enter. Alright, after writing the script tag, we need to provide a source for our JavaScript file, but we don't have a JavaScript file right now. So I'm going to create a new JavaScript file. So just click on this JS course and then click on this icon once again and then create a JavaScript file. You can name it whatever you want. So I'll name it basic.js and then hit enter. And here is your JavaScript file. Now inside of this script tag, we need to provide a source. We need to link this JavaScript file to this index.html file, and this is how we do it. We provided a source, and then source will be basic.js like so. Now let me explain what I just did there. So in this script tag, we are providing a source, we are providing the file that we have on our drive, and our JavaScript file is in the same folder as the index.html files, and that's why we are not providing any folder here. If you have your JavaScript file inside of some folder like script, and then inside of this script folder you have your JavaScript file, then you need to write script/basic.js. But we have our JavaScript file right in this JS course folder, and that's why we are not doing that. Okay, so just save this file then, and then go to this basic.js file, and now we'll write our very first line of JavaScript code. And in this first line, I want to display hello world in the console, and for that I'll type in console like that, and then I will type dot, and then I will type log. Okay, and then I will use this parenthesis like so, and in the end I will put the semicolon, and in here I will type the quotation first, and then I will say hello world. Okay, so what this line will do is it will print the hello world in the console of the browser. Okay, and these parentheses are just the part of the syntax. We need to type it like that. And you can also use the single quotation instead of this double quotation, so just use whatever you want. I prefer the single quotation, so I'm going to use the single quotation. If you want to use a double quotation, then you can use a double quotation. And in JavaScript, we can also use the semicolon at the end of the line, and that's what I prefer to do. But if you don't want to write this semicolon, then you can leave it like so. But I prefer the semicolon at the end, so I'll type in the semicolon. Okay, now just save this program and then go to your folder and open this index.html file inside of a browser. I am going to use the Chrome browser and I suggest you to do so. Okay, so this is our folder and we don't see anything in here. Well, why is that? Well, we are not printing anything on this page. We are not printing anything on this index.html file. We are printing it in the console. But where is the console, right? That is the question. Well, to go to the console, you need to right click and then you can click on inspect. And then you can click on this console over here. And here you will see the hello world program. And I'll be using this console throughout this course, so just know the step. First, you need to right click and then you need to click on inspect. And then you need to click on console. So let me show this to you once again. First, right click and then click on inspect and then go to console. And here we see our hello world program. Okay, now let's just go back to our code editor and change this to hello. And then save this and go back to this browser and refresh this and you will see hello. Alright, so that was cool, right? Okay, now before I let you go, I want to teach you something else. I want to teach you something about the comment. So what are comments and how can we create a comment? Well, comments are the line which are written for the preference of the programmer. They are written as a note for the programmer and they are ignored by the JavaScript. Okay, so you can write anything here. So this above line prints something to the console. So these are the comments, and to write a comment you just need to type in these forward slashes. So just type in 2 forward slash like this, so 2 forward slash, and then you can write your message. Okay, you can write comment like this. Okay, now just save this and these lines will not be executed, right? So these are just for the preference of the programmer. These are not for the JavaScript. Okay, so these lines will not be executed. These are just used as notes for programmers. So programmers write these comments as notes. Okay, so just save this and go back to this browser and refresh this and you won't see anything here. Okay, I hope that you understood everything I taught you. And before I let you go, I just want to refresh everything you learned today. So first step, we downloaded the Visual Studio Code and then we created a folder, and inside of this folder we have 2 files. The first file is index.html and the second file is basic.js. And in this index.html file we wrote some HTML code, and inside of this HTML code in the body tag we linked our basic.js file to this HTML file using this line of code. Okay, and in the basic.js we are printing hello on the console of the browser, and we are using the console.log statement. Then we learned about the comments, and we also learned about how to open this console in the Google Chrome browser. So that was a lot to take in, and I hope you enjoyed this video lesson, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. Hi and welcome to this course. In this lesson we are going to learn about variables and constant. So what is a variable? A variable is just like a container in which we can store some value or some data. Just like we can store Coke in a bottle, or just like we can store toys in a wooden box, we can store some data or we can store some value inside of a variable. We can also change the value of the variable. It means that after we create our variable, we can change its value, we can change its data. So what is a constant? Well, a constant is almost like a variable, but we cannot change the value. So in details, a constant is just like a container in which we can store some data or some value, but we cannot change the value. After we assign the value, after we create the constant, we cannot change its value afterwards, whereas in a variable we can change the value. Now let's get back to our code editor and write some code. So to create a variable, we can use the let keyword. So let, and after that we need to type in our variable name. So my variable name will be name, and inside of it I want to store my name. So I will type in my name, and then at the end of this line, at the end of this statement, I will add semicolon. Okay, and so to print a variable, to print the value of this variable, we can use the console.log statement. So console.log, and inside of it we can use our variable name, which is name in this case, and at the end we'll use the semicolon. And I will save this program, and then I will go back to my Chrome and I will refresh this, and you will see Shubham just right here. Okay, now let's get back to our code editor and see if we can change the value. So to change the value, we need to use in our variable name, which is name, and then we will use this assignment operator or this equal to sign, and then we will use, or we will put in our value. So I will put in Shubham and Saurav, which is my full name, and at the end I will add the semicolon, and then I will save this, and then I will print my variable value, or the value of this variable, which we know how to do. And then I will add the semicolon, and then I will save this program, and then I will go back to my Chrome and I will refresh this, and you will see Shubham Saurav, the changed value right here. Now let's get back to our Visual Studio Code and create a constant. So to create a constant, we need to use the const keyword, okay? And then we will type in our constant name, which will be is, and then to assign the value we need to use the equal to sign or the assignment operator. We call this equal to sign the assignment operator in programming. We will learn about operators in later videos, so don't worry about it. Now we'll type in the value. So the value will be 18, and then I will use the semicolon, and then in the next line I will print the value. So to print the value, we use the console.log statement, and then inside of it we type in the variable name or the constant name, and then we'll save this program and we'll go back to our Chrome and we'll refresh this, and we'll see the value 18 just right here. Okay, now let's get back to our Visual Studio Code once again and see if we can change the value. So age is equal to 20, and let's save this program, and let's get back to our Chrome and let's refresh this, and you will see that there is an error which proves that we cannot change the value of a constant. Okay, now let's get back to our code editor and delete this error. So I will delete this line, and then I will save this program, and then I will go back to my Chrome, and then I will refresh this, and the error will be gone. Okay, so in a nutshell, we can change the value of a variable and we cannot change the value of a constant. That is the basic difference, and I hope that you understood everything I taught you today. And that's gonna be it for me for this video. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below, and I will be happy to help you. Bye. Hi and welcome to this course. In this video, we are going to talk about data types. So what exactly are data types? Well, data types means the type of data that we can store in a variable or a constant. It means that what kind of data we can store in our variable or constant. And there are many data types in JavaScript, but in this video we are going to learn about the 5 data types. We are not going to learn about symbols, so let me just delete it right away, and we are going to learn about these data types. So what is a string? Well, anything inside a single quotation or a double quotation is a string. So how we can store string in a variable? Well, to do that we can use const my name. My name is a variable name here, and then equal to the data, and in here we can use a single quotation or a double quotation. I prefer to use double quotation, so I'll use double quotation, and inside of it I'll type in my name with a little space right here, and then I will end the statement. I will end this line with a semicolon, and in the next line I will create a number, and inside of a number variable or a constant we can store almost any decimal value or an integer value. So my integer is equal to 78, and I will end this line with this semicolon, and I will store one decimal point value. So my decimal is equal to 90.98. Let me put dot here, and then I will end this statement with a semicolon, and then I will store a boolean value. So what exactly is a boolean value? Well, a boolean value means true or false. Okay, so it means on or off. Okay, so const my bool is equal to true, and it can also be false. So just let me show you that. Okay, so this is my string. Anything or everything inside a single quotation or a double quotation is a string, and we're gonna store string in a variable or a constant. I'm using constant here. And what is a number? Well, any decimal point value or integer value is a number, and we can store both of them inside of a variable or a constant. And what is a bool? A boolean is a data type which means true or false. It can be either true or false, which we are doing right here. Then what is null? Well, null means empty. Okay, so it means empty. Just think of it like a box in which there are no toys, a box which is completely empty. Think of it like a Coke bottle which is empty and there is no Coke in it. Okay, so let me make a null variable. So my null is equal to, and we use the null keyword here to define a variable that is null. And then what is undefined? Well, undefined means that we haven't defined the data type yet. So to create an undefined, we can do this in two ways. We can use the const, and then my undefined const. So my undefined const is equal to undefined, or we can just make a variable like this and leave it just like that, and this will be an undefined variable. Okay, now let's just print some of them. So console dot log, and inside of it I will print my name, and then I will end this line with a semicolon, and then I will save this, and I will go to my Chrome and see if it works. So let's open up Chrome, and here we go. This, I have refreshed the page, and this is the result. Now if we try to print some other variable like my integer, so let me just copy it and paste it over here, and if I save this and if I go back to Chrome and refresh the page, then you will see 78, the value right here. Also, I would like to point one thing out right now, that if you want to know the value of the variable, then you can use the type of operator. So you can say type of, and then leave a space, and then your variable name, and this type of will tell you that this my integer is of type number. So let me show you. So let me save this first and then go back to Chrome and refresh this page, and then you will see that this shows that this data type is a number. Okay, so that's gonna be it from me for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hi and welcome to this video lesson. In this video lesson, we are going to learn about some of the methods and properties that we can use and apply on a string. So let's just create some variable first. So first name is equal to Subham and var last name is equal to Saurav. And first up we are going to learn about how we can add these two in the full name variable, how we can add these two. So to do that we can create a variable, say full name, and then equal to first name, and then the plus symbol, and then the last name, and then a semicolon. After that we are going to console log it. So console dot log, and inside of that I will use the full name variable, and at the end the semicolon. Okay, so I will save this, and then I will go back to Chrome, and I will refresh this page, and you will see Shubham Saurav, and you will see that there is no space here. So how can we add a space between the first name and the last name? So to do that you go back to Visual Studio Code, and after the first plus symbol just add a string with a space, and then add a plus symbol after that. So just like that, and just save this and go back to Chrome and refresh this, and then you will see Shubham Saurav with a space in between. Now let's go back to VS Code and see the new way of doing this concatenation. So the new way is just use the var, or just create a new variable for sake. So full name 2 is equal to, and then use this backtick symbol, and inside of that backtick symbol use this dollar symbol, and then this opening and closing curly braces, and inside of that you use the first name variable, and then a space, and then the dollar sign, and then the opening and the closing curly braces, inside of that the last name. Okay, and then at the end the semicolon. So what we are doing here, well, we are creating a new variable as full name 2, and inside of that we are creating a special string which will have the value of the first name and the last name with a space in between. And to use a variable inside a string, or to add a variable inside a string, or to display a variable inside a string, we use this dollar sign, and then this opening and the closing curly braces, and inside of that opening and closing curly braces we type the variable name. Okay, and if you want to add some extra string here, then you can just say space and is my full name with a full stop, and then save this and console log this. So console dot log, and inside of that I will copy this and paste it over here, and at the end the usual semicolon, and then I will save this and I will go back to Chrome, and then I will refresh this, and you will see Shubham Saurav is my full name. So that was about adding a string and the old way of doing string concatenation. Now let's talk about some other stuff. So I want to capitalize or change these Shubham Saurav to the uppercase. So how can we do that? So to that I will do console.log, and inside of that I will use the full name variable, and then dot to uppercase. And since this uppercase is a method which we know from here, so we just click on that, and since this is a method we need to use the opening and the closing parenthesis. So let's just save this. We will talk about this method and property in the later video, so just don't worry about that for now. And then just go back to Chrome after saving it and just refresh this page, and then you will see Shubham Saurav is printed in uppercase. Now if you want to change this into the lowercase, then you can use the lowercase method. So let's just delete all of it, and then 2 and lowercase also a method, so we'll have to use the opening and closing parenthesis. Okay, and then after the opening and closing parenthesis of this lowercase method, we need to use this closing parenthesis for this log, and then we will save this and then we'll go back to Chrome, and then we will refresh this, and you will see this in the lower case. Now if you want to know the length of this full name variable, if you want to know the number of characters which are available in this full name, then we can use the length property. So just type in length, and you will see that this length is a property, so we don't need to use parenthesis here. So just type in the length and save this, and go back to your Chrome and refresh this page, and you will see that it is of 14 character. So let's just count it to make sure that we are correct. So SHU 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 and 13, and this space makes the 14. Okay, now I want to show you how you can add a special symbol in a string. So to do that, we will create a new variable. So var message is equal to, and the message will be it's okay. So it's okay. And the question is, why is this giving us an error? We have started this string from the single quotation and we have ended it with the double quotation, but why is this giving us an error? Well, it is giving us an error because we cannot use this symbol inside of a string, and to use this special symbol inside of a string, we need to use this backslash symbol, and then it will allow us to do that. So let's just console.log this, console.log, and then inside of it I will use the message. And the main point here is that to use any special symbol, you will have to use this backslash before that. So before that special symbol, before any special symbol that you want to use inside of your string, you must put the backslash first. Only in that case it will be correct. So I hope that you understood everything I taught you, and if you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hi and welcome to this course. In this video lesson, we are going to be talking about arrays. So what are arrays? Well, arrays are the list of things. Arrays are the list of values. Arrays are the variables that can store multiple values or multiple data inside them. So think of it like this. Suppose you have 3 friends and you want to store their names in one place. So you can use an array to store your 3 friends inside of one single variable. So let's just see how it works. So I will create a new array called friends, and inside of that I want to store the 3 friends. So this is how you create an array, and this is how you create an empty array. First you define a constant or a variable, and then the variable name, and then equal to sign, which is the assignment operator, and then this square bracket, and inside of that square bracket we will type the name of our friend. So the first friend is Sam, the second one is John, and the third one is Ron. Okay, so let me just put the single quotation here for string, and let's just console log this first. So console.log, and inside of it I want to print friends. So let's just paste it over here and just save it and refresh this, and you will see that we have created an array, and this array has 3 elements. Okay, so first one is Sam, second one is John, and the third one is Ron. Now let's create a new array. So let's just create a new array. So const fruits is equal to, and then we will assign a new array. So apple and mango. The third one will be banana. So banana, banana, and at the end the usual semicolon. And I will console log this one too. So console.log. Okay, and I will put the fruits over here, and I will refresh this page, and I will refresh this, and you will see that we have created a new array. So now what can we store in array? Well, we can store anything. We can store a string just like we have done here. We can also store numbers in array. We can also store boolean values. So let me give you an example. So let's just say let first person is equal to, and inside of this array I will store the information of a person. So let's just say Sammy, and the age of the Sammy is 18, and he's not a programmer, so false. Okay, you can store multiple data types inside of an array. Now what if you have made a new friend and you want to add that friend to your friends array? So you can call friends dot, and you can say push, and push is a method, so we'll need the parenthesis, and inside of that you can type the name of your new friend. So my new friend is Harry, and then I will console log this, so console.log, and you will see that we have added a new friend to our list. So let's just put the semicolon there and just refresh this page, and you will see that we have added Harry at the end. Now what if you want to add a new friend at the beginning of the array, not at the end of the array? Well, to do that you can type in friends dot and unshift, and using this method you can add a friend at the beginning. So let's just add Chris to this list, and let's just console log this, so console dot log, and inside of that I will put friends, and at the end the usual semicolon, and I will refresh this one, and you will see that Chris is being added to this array. Now what if you want to delete Chris? What if you want to delete the first element or Chris from this array? To do that you can call friends and then dot and then shift, and the shift method will delete Chris from this list. So let's just save this and console log this again. Let me just copy this from here, let me just paste it, and I will save this and I will refresh this, and you will see that Chris is gone. Now how can we count the length of an array? So to count the length of an array you can use the console.log statement as always, and I guess you have guessed it right. So friends dot length will tell us the length of this array, which is 4 at this time. Okay, now what if I want to print Sam only, not the entire friends but just Sam? So to access Sam we need to access the index. So how can we access the index? Well, to access the index we need the indexing, we need to know about the indexing. So what will be the index, or what will be the place of Sam in our list? Well, let's just expand this, and you will see that Sam is at the 0th index. So why 0 and why not 1? Well, everything in programming starts with 0. So the first element will have an index of 0, the second element will have an index of 1, and the third element will have an index of 2. So if I want to print, let's just say Harry, then I will have to access the index number 3, and we can access the index 3 or any index like this. First type in your variable name or your array name, and then the square bracket, and inside of that square bracket you need to type in the index, which is 3, because I want to print Harry. Okay, now let's just save this and let's just refresh this, and you will see Harry right here. Now to print John we will have to do 1. So let's refresh this and let's just refresh this, and you will see John here. Now if you want to know whether a variable is an array or whether it is not an array, you can use the array.isArray method. So let's just console log first, so console.log, and inside of that we will call the array and then dot is array, and inside of it we will have to type in, or we will have to pass our friends or our array. So let's just pass friends over here, and at the end the usual semicolon, and if I save this and I refresh this, then you will see that true, yes, the friends is an array. Now let me just put one number here, that is 8, and let me just save this and then refresh it, and then you will see that false. So this 8 is not an array. Now before I let you go, I also want to show you an old way of creating an array. So to create an array we can also do something like this. So const names is equal to, and then the new keyword, and then array like that, with the opening and the closing parenthesis, and inside of this we can add our elements. So let's just say Shubham and Ayush, Shivam, these are the names of my friends. So this is how we can create an array. Okay, so let's just console log this. So console.log and names here, and then the semicolon, and save this and refresh this, and you will see that we can also create an array like this. Alright, I hope you understood everything I taught you. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye. Hi and welcome to this class. In this video lesson we are going to learn about object literals. So what exactly are object literals? Well, object literals are also like variable, but these can store many value inside them just like arrays. But there is one big difference here. These object literals store value in key value pair. Let me show you an example. So I will create an object literal here. So let person is equal to, and this is how we create an object literal. We use these braces and then the semicolon at the end, and I'll go in between and I'll hit enter, and inside of them I'll type in some keys. So this first name will be my key, and then I will type column, and this will be my value. So my first name is Shubham, so this is my key. This first name is the key and this Shubham is the value. So this is key value pair. Okay, now we will separate this key value pair with comma. Okay, and then I will type in another key and the value for that key, and then I will type in another key, that is age, and my age is 18 years. The next one will be hobbies. So there is one thing that I would like to point out here is that we can also assign arrays or objects to a key. So right now I'm going to assign an array to this hobbies key, and I like playing chess, so the first value will be chess. And I like coding, so I will type in coding, so coding. And I like making videos, so video making. Okay, now I will separate this with a comma. I'm going to print this object literals using the console log statement. So console dot log, and I will copy this person, I will paste it over here, and then I will save this, and I will go to my Chrome and I will refresh this, and you will see our object literals just right here. So this first name is the key and Shubham is the value for this key. This last name is a key and the Shubham is a value. This age is a key and 18 is a value, and this hobbies is also a key, and this array of chess, coding and video making is the value. Okay, now how can we access the first name of this person? So to access the first name of this person, we can use this dot, and then we can use first name just like that. And then I will save this, and then I will refresh this over here, and then you will see Shubham right here. Now to access the last name, I can use the last name here, and then I will save this and I will refresh this, and you will see my last name. And again, to access the age, we can use age, and then we can save this and we can go back to Chrome and we can refresh this, and it will show us the age. And what if we want to access the coding of this hobbies? Well, as I've taught you in the previous video, you can use this hobbies right here, and then to access the first index we use this bracket, square bracket, and then I will type in number 1, and then I will save this and I will refresh this over here, and it will say coding. Okay, now what if I want to add another key and value to this person? Well, to do that, I can type in person dot, and this email is my new key, and the value for this key will be hi Shubham Saurav at gmail.com. And if I console log this, so console.log, And if I print this person key value pair of object literal, and if I refresh this after saving it, you will see the email right here. Okay, now I want to show you another way of accessing the value. The first way was using the dot and then the key of the object literal, and now the second way is using this square bracket, and inside that square bracket we type in the first name. And if I save this and then if I refresh this, then you will see Shubham right here. So we can also access our value like this, or we can also access our value just like this. Now before I let you go, I want to show you how you can assign an object literal to the key of an object literal. Let me show you what I mean. So I will place a comma here, and now I will create a new key, and the key will be address, and this address will be an object literal. So the value of the address will be an object literal. Now let me punch in some key and value pair here. So city will be Samastipur and the state will be Bihar, and let me just place a comma right there. And if I save this and if we print the entire object literal, then you will see the results. So this is our result. The value of an address is the object literal, and these are the value. Now what if I want to access the city of this address? So to do that, we can type person dot address dot city. Yes, and if I save this and if I go back to Chrome and if I refresh this, then you will see Samastipur just right there. So I hope you understood everything I taught you today, and that's gonna be it from me for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hi and welcome to this course. In this video lesson, we are going to be talking about an array of object literals. So first we need to create an array of object literals. So let's just create one. So let's let persons is equal to an array, and the array will be of object literals. So just, and the first key will be name, and the name will be Shubham Saurav, and is coder will be true, and is will be 18. And let's just copy this and paste it 2 times. So just write like that and like that, and change the values here. So 20, name will be Harry Potter, and is coded is equal to false. And in here we'll say Ron is coded true, and the age will be, let's just say 22. Okay, now this is an array of object literals. These are object literals, and this persons is an array of object literals. Now I want to access this name. So how can I access this name, this Tron? How can I access it? Well, to access this name of this object, we can say persons and then the first index and then dot name. So let me show you that. So console dot log, and we want to access persons and then the first index. Remember, this is 0, this is first, and this is second index. So we want to access Ron, so it will be first index, and then I want to display the name, so it will be like this. Okay, and now the semicolon at the end, and let's just save this and refresh this, and you will see Ron right here. Now if you want to display all of them, then you can delete these codes, and you can save this and you can refresh this, and you will see that we have an array of object literals, and there are 3 elements. The first one is this one, the second one is this one, and the third one is this one. Now if I want to display is coder of the second index of person, then how can I do so? Well, I can just use this square bracket right here, and then dot is coder. And if I save this and I refresh this, then you will see false. Okay, so that was all that you needed to know as a beginner, and that's gonna be it from me for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hi and welcome to this course. In this video lesson we are going to be talking about if-else statement. So what is an if-else statement and why do we use it? Suppose you have a program and you want to run that program only when there is a certain situation happening, only when a certain situation is true. Then how do we do it? Well, that's when the if-else statement comes into the play. So let me show you what I mean. So let's create a variable first. So let age is equal to 10. Okay, and so if this age, okay, so if this age is equal to 10, so if this age, if the value of age is equal to 10, then only I want to do this. Okay, so if the value of age is 10, then I want to print something on the screen. So value is 10. Okay, so let's just save this and let's just refresh this, and so the value is 10. So what is happening here? Well, we are allowing our program, we are allowing our code to make some decision, and it is making a decision based on some condition, and this age is equal to 10 is a condition. So if this age is equal to 10, this is what it means. So if this age is equal to 10, then only do everything that is inside these curly braces. And if this age is not equal to 10, so if this age is not equal to 10, then do everything that is inside these curly braces. Okay, so let me print something here. So console log, and value is not 10. I'm using a simple example here to make sure that you understand everything here. So let me refresh this, and the value is 10, and of course the value is 10. But what if I change the value to 16? Well, if I change the value to 16, then you will see a change here. So value is not 10. Of course the value is not 10 because we changed it to 16. So this is how it works. So if this condition is true, so if age is equal to 10, then do this. Okay, and if this condition is not true, so if age is not equal to 10, then do this. Okay, so now let me show you some operators which we'll use. So these are the operator. This is the greater than symbol, and this is the smaller than, this is greater than equal to, and this is smaller than equal to, and this is not equal to, and this is equal to. Okay, we also have this one is also equal to, and this one is also equal to, but this one is which I prefer to use because it matches the data type. So when I say age is equal to 10, it will make sure that the value of age is 10, and also the data type is integer, but this one doesn't match the data type. Let me show you what I mean. So let me change it back to 10, and I will put the quotation, and I will remove this, and I will make it like so. Okay, now if I save this and if I run this, then you will see the value is 10, and that is what I mean. This double equal to sign doesn't matches the data type, but this triple equal to sign matches the data type, and this one is not equal to. So it will check if the value of age is not equal to 10. So if the value of age is not equal to 10, then it will do this. Okay, and this one is smaller than equal to. So if the value of 10 is smaller than or equal to 10, so if the value of age is smaller than 10 or it is 10, then it will do everything inside these lines. Okay, and now it is greater than equal to. So if the value of age is greater than or equal to 10, then it will do everything that is inside these braces, and these one are simple. It is greater than, so if the value of age is greater than 10, and this one is smaller than, so if the value of age is smaller than 10, These are some simple operators which you should know, and if you have any problem understanding these, then please make sure to leave a comment down below. I will make sure to make a video on the operators. Okay, now let me revert it back to what it was previously. So 10 and equal to right here. Now I want to check for multiple condition. I want to have multiple if statement. I want to check for the age 10, and I want to check for the age 12, and I want to check for age 14. So how can I do that? Well, that is also simple. We'll hit enter a couple of times, and then I will say else if, and inside this if statement we will put our condition. So age is equal to 20 or 12, and another else statement. So else if age is equal to 14, then do this. And if age is not equal to 10 or 12 or 14, then do the else part. Okay, so let me just copy it and paste it in here and in here, and change the value from 10 to 14 and from 10 to 12. Okay, now if I run this program, the value will be 10, but if I change the value from 10 to 12, then the result will be value is 12. And if I change the value from 12 to 14, then this statement will run. So let me show you. And if I change the value from 14 to, let's just say 20, then what do you think, what will run? Yes, the else part will run. So let me save it and let me refresh this, and you will see value is not 10. So let me revise everything for you. So in the if statement, we are checking whether the value of age is equal to 10 or not. So if the value of age is equal to 10, then this will run. And if it is not true, if it is incorrect, then the JavaScript will run to this line and it will check for this condition. So if age is equal to 12, so if the value of age is 12, then it will do this. And if it is not 12, then it will run to this line and it will check for this statement and this condition. And in here we are checking whether the value of age is 14 or not. And if the value of age is 14, then it will print this line or run everything that is inside these braces. And if it is not 14, and if all these if or else if statement are wrong or incorrect, then only the JavaScript will run to this line and these lines of code will be executed. Okay, so I hope you understand what I mean. Now before I let you go, I want to show you something else. So in this if line or in this else if line, we can also check for multiple statement. We can check for, so if age is equal to 10, or, so this is or operator, this one. So or age is equal to 11. So if the value of age is equal to 10 or the value of age is equal to 11, then do this. What I mean in this statement is, if any of these conditions, so if this one or this one is true, then do this. Okay, so let me change the value from 20 to 11 and save this program and run this over here. Then you will see the value is 10. And let me change it a little bit. So and save this and refresh this, and you will see the value is 10/11. So if this age is equal to 10 or the age is equal to 14, this is the or operator. So if the value of age is 10 or the value of age is 11, then please execute everything that is inside these braces. Now I want to show you another operator, and that is AND operator. And before I show you AND operator, I need to make a variable. So let x is equal to 13, and this is my column right there. And in here I will check if the value of age is 12, and this is the AND operator. So if the value of age is 12 and the value of x is 13, then do this. Okay, so value of is 12 and value of x is 13. Okay, now so if the value of age is 12 and the value of x is 13, then if the both condition are true, if both of these condition are true, then do everything that is inside these braces. Okay, so let me run this and you know the result. The value of age is not equal to 12, but the value of x is equal to 13. This AND operator requires both of them to be true. So let me change the value here. And if I save this and if I run this, then you will see value of age is 12 and value of x is 13. The main difference between the OR operator, this is the OR operator, and this is the AND operator. So the main difference between them is that the OR operator requires one of the statement to be true and one of them can be false, but this AND operator requires both of them to be true. Okay, that was all I wanted to teach you today, and that's gonna be it from me for this video. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hi and welcome to this course. In this video lesson, we'll be talking about switch. So what exactly are switch and where do we use them? Well, switch are the conditionals which we use in place of long if-else statement. So here is what I mean. Suppose that your if-else and else-if statement has grown to like 50 lines, and to simplify those 50 lines of code, we use switch. And here is an example, but before I show you that example, let me make a variable first. So let age is equal to 20. Okay, and then I will show you the example of switch. So just type in switch, and in the parenthesis just pass this variable. So the variable will be age, and then the curly braces, and we are checking whether the value of age is in these cases or not. So case 10. Okay, and I will console log something. So console.log, and in here I will print value is 10. Okay, and then I will copy this line and I will check for another case. So if the value is 10, then print this, and if the value is this case, so if the value is 20, then print this, and I will change the value from 10 to 20 here. And if the value is 30, so if the case is 30 or the value is 30, then please do this. Okay, now if none of these statements are true, so if case 10 is wrong, if case 20 is wrong, and if case 30 is wrong, then do what is default. So this is default, and if none of the above cases are true, then this default will be executed. So value is something else. Okay, now if I save this and if I refresh this page, then you will see the value is 20 and the value is 10 and the value is something else. Well, you'll say that this isn't working. Well, it is working, but we also need to break out of this switch statement when a certain case is true. So to break out of the cases, we need to type in the break keyword and then the semicolon. So at the end of every case, so this is case 10 and these are my statement inside the case 10, and after these statement we need to type in the break keyword. Okay, so the break keyword here and the break keyword here, and then if I save this, then you will see that after we have executed this case 20, after the case 20 is executed, the JavaScript will break out of this switch. It will not go to print, it will not go to execute all these lines of code. And let me change this from 10 to 30 first. Okay, and then I will save this and I will go back to there and I will refresh that, and you will see the value is 20. Now if I change the value from 20 to 10 and if I save this and refresh this, then you will see the value is 10, just like that. And if I change the value from 10 to 30 and if I save this and refresh this, then you will see the value is 30. And if I change it from 30 to 33 and save this and refresh this, and you will see the value is something else. So this is your switch statement which can be used to eliminate long if-else line of code. Now, if you have any question regarding the switch statement, make sure to leave them down below. And that's all gonna be it from me for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hi and welcome to this course. In this video lesson, we are going to be talking about loops. And the first loop which I want to show you is for loop. So let me just write that here. And this is how you create a for loop. So you use the for keyword, and in the first statement you initialize a variable. So I is equal to 0, and then you put the condition. So I will be less than 10, and then you put the increment or decrement operator. So I plus plus, and the opening and the closing curly braces, and inside of that I will print I. So console.log, and I will print the value of I. Now what I'm doing here is I am creating a for loop, and the first condition is let I is equal to 0. Here I am initializing a new variable, and the value of the variable is 0. In the second parameter, I am checking whether I is less than 10 or not, and we know that the value of I is 0. So yes, I is less than 10. So it goes to the third round where it increments it. So I plus plus is equal to, so I plus plus is equal to the value of I plus 1, and right now the value of 1 is 0, so it increments the value from 0 to 1. So I plus 1 is equal to 1, so 0 plus 1 is equal to 1, right? So if I save this and if I run this program, then you will see that it has printed the numbers from 0 to 9. Let me break it down for you. So at first the value of I was 0, so it printed 0. Then we incremented its value by 1, so the value of I became 1. So I became 1, and yes, 1 is less than 10, so it printed 1. And just like that, when it came at 9, so when the value of I was 9, so 9 is of course less than 10, so it printed the value of I, which was 9. And then it incremented the value of I, so I became 10, and 10 is not less than 10, and that's why the loop broke at that time. Okay, now I want to show you a real world application of this for loop. So we have a object literal here, and I want to print the name of all the persons in this person's object literal. So how can I do that? Well, I can use the for loop for that. So let I is equal to 0, and then the length of I is less than persons dot length. Okay, so the length of the persons is, what is the length of the persons? It is 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and then I will increment it by 1. So I will increment it by 1 like that. So at first the value of I is equal to 0, so it will display the name of the first object literal, and we are going to print the name of the first object literal like this. So persons, so I will place I here. Okay, at first the value of I is equal to 0, and then it became 1, and then it became 2, and when the value became 3, so 3 is not less than 3, so it will crack out of the loop. Now what this console log statement will do is each time when we are looping through this for loop, it will print each and every object, but we don't want that. We want to display just the name. So I will type in dot here, and then I will type name, and if I save this and if I run this here, you will see Shubham Saurav, Ron and Harry Potter, just like that. Okay, now let me revise everything about for loop for you. In the first parameter we assign a variable, in the second parameter we check a condition, and in the third one we increment or decrement it. Okay, and that's how it works. Now I want to show you another loop, which is while loop. Now let me show you how a while loop works. In the while loop, we assign the variable outside the while loop. So a is equal to 0, and in the while parameter, in the parameter of while, we check the condition. We check whether this is greater than or smaller than something. So a is less than persons dot length. So if the value of a, which is 0, so if 0 is less than persons dot length, and what is the value of persons dot length? The value of person dot length is 3. So if the value of 0, so if a is less than 3, then I want to do everything that is inside these braces. So I want to do what? I want to display the names. So persons a dot name, okay, and the semicolon at the end. And after doing that, I want to increment the a, otherwise it will go into the infinite loop. And if I save this right now, and if I go back to this browser, and if I refresh this, then you will see Shubham Saurav, Ron and Harry Potter just right here. Now I want to show you another loop, which is for of loop. So let me just comment it out first. And the for of loop is usually used to loop through an array, and we have an array here, so we'll loop through these. Okay, so what is the syntax? So for, and in here we'll say person of persons, and the curly braces here, and inside of this we will log the person. So person, not persons. And if I save this, and if I go back to this browser, and if I refresh this, then you will see all of our objects just like that. So how is this for of loop working? Well, in the for of loop, we are going through each and every element of the array, and our array is person, so we are going through each and every person of these persons. And you can put anything here, you can put a here, you can put I here, you can put anything here. Okay, and we are looping through each and every element of this persons, and in the console.log we are printing the person. We can also print the name of the person like this. And if you save this, and if you go back to Chrome, and if you refresh this, and you will see the name of the persons. So I hope that you understood everything I taught you today. If you have any questions or comment, make sure to leave them down below, and I will be happy to help you. Alright, that's gonna be it from me for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Hi and welcome to this course. In this video lesson, we'll be talking about functions. So what are functions? Well, functions are a group of code that perform a specific task. Functions are the collection of code that are used to perform a specific task. They are a block of organized, reusable code that can perform a task. Suppose that you have a program to write, right? You have to get the first name and the last name of the user, and then you have to print their full name in the console, and you have to do it like 10 times. Then you'll use a function. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. So first I'll get the first name of the user, and then the last name of the user, and then I will print the full name. So I will create a function for that. So to create a function, just type in function and then the function name. So the function name will be full name. Okay, and then these parentheses, and then these braces, and then go inside the braces and hit enter. Alright, now we will get the first name. So const first name is equal to Shubham, const last name is equal to Saurav, and now I will print the full name. So console.log, and I will use the backtick here, and full name is equal to $, and then these. So first name right here, and then a space, and then the last name like so, and then a semicolon at the end. Now let's just save this, and now we have created our function. but we are not using it. We have created it, but we are not using it. So to use the function, just type the function name, so full name like that, and then these parentheses, and at the end the semicolon. So to call a function, we use a function name and then these parentheses and then the semicolon, which is not compulsory. Okay, now if I save this program and if I refresh this, then you will see the full name Shubham Saurav. Now suppose that you have to do this like 10 times, and what you can do is you can just type in the full name again and full name again, and it will work just fine, and you will see the Shubham Saurav printed 3 times. Now you don't have to do this 3 times. You can just use this single line of code and you will eliminate the duplication. Now this console log is also a function, and this function performs a specific task. Its task is to print something on the console, and just like that we have created our function that will print the full name every time we use it. Now let's make our function smarter. So we will delete these. Now suppose that you have 10 people. Okay, so you have 10 people and you have to display their full name. So you don't have to write this function 10 times. You can just eliminate these line of code and you can just use this function to print their name. So let me show you what I mean. First go up here and then type in the first name. So we are creating a variable here, first name, and then type in the last name. Okay, in these parentheses we have created 2 parameter, and these are the parameter which we are using over here. These are just a variable which we are using here and here. Okay, and when we are creating a parameter, we don't need to specify the const or the let, and that's why we haven't specified const or let here. Okay, so let's just save this, and if I call this function, then you will see that we need to pass it some value, and the first value I'm going to pass it will be Shubham, and the second value I'm going to pass it will be Saurav. And now what will happen is, each time I am calling this function, the first parameter, the value of this first parameter will be passed to the first name. So this value will be passed to the first name variable here, the first name parameter here, and then this will passed to this one, this variable over here. So the full name will be Shubham, and this Saurav will be passed to the last name over here, and this last name will be passed to this one over here. So the console log statement, the console log function will print the full name. Okay, so let me save this and let me refresh this over here, and you will see Shubham Saurav. Now if I change this to something else, so Harry Potter, and if I save this and if I refresh this, then you will see Harry Potter. Now this means that we have made our function smarter. Our function can now perform a specific task of printing the full name of people. Now let's return something. Right now all we are doing is printing something, we are not returning something. So here is what I mean. So in the end we can do something like this. We can use this return keyword and then the first name and then the last name, so plus last name, and in between these two we need a space. So all I'm going to do is type in some space and then use the plus one here, and I'm going to save this one, and I'm going to comment this line using the command and slash one. Okay, and now if I save this and if I run this, then you won't see anything up here. But why? Well, because we have commented this console.log statement, and now we are not printing something, we are returning the data. So if anyone wants to use the full name, or if anyone wants to grab the full name, previously they won't be able to do so, because all we were doing was printing the data on the screen. But right now we are not printing it, we are returning the data to be used further. So let me show you what I mean. So we can create a variable here like full name, and then it is equal to this variable. And now this full name variable has the value of whatever this function is returning, and this function is returning the first name plus space plus last name, which is full name. So this full name now contains the value of Harry plus Potter with a space in between. Let me show you. So console.log, and inside of that we will print the full name. Okay, and the full name with a small n, and at the end we'll put this semicolon, and then I will save this. And if I refresh this, then you will see Harry Potter. Now if I want to change the value, so let me change the value, so Mary Cooper, and if I save this, then you will see the value Mary Cooper here. So right now what we are doing is we are allowing the function to get some data using this first name and last name parameter, and then we are returning the data. And whatever this function is returning, so this function is returning Mary Cooper, we are assigning the return value to this full name, and we are printing it over here. Okay, now let me show you something else. We can also assign the default value to these functions. So we can say first name is equal to John, and the last name is equal to Doe. And if I delete this value from here, and if I save this, and if I refresh this, then you will see John Doe here. But if I change the value, so if I say A, B or SA, and then if I say something like this, and if I save this, then you will see that these value will be overwritten by these that we are providing here. Okay, so that was all I wanted to teach you, and before I let you go, I want to give you an assignment. So the assignment is that you have to get two numbers. So write a function that gets two number and then return their sum. So get num1 and get num2 and then return their sum. So you can use the plus operator to add their value, and you can use the return keyword to return the value. Also, don't forget to post the solution in the comments below. Alright, that's all a bit for me for this video, and if you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave them down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. Hi and welcome to this course. In this video lesson, we are going to learn about arrow function. But before that, let me give you the solution to the assignment that I gave you in the last video. So in the assignment, I told you to get two numbers and then return their sum. So here is how we do it. First, you need to create a function, and I'll name this function as add two nums. Okay, and in the parameters I will get the num1 using this variable and num2 using num2 variable. Okay, and then these braces, and inside that I'm going to return their sum. So I'm going to return num1 plus num2. After that we need to call these functions. So add two num, and in the first parameter I will pass 4, and in the second parameter I will pass 6, and then the semicolon at the end. So here we are creating a function that is named add two nums, and in the num1 we are getting the first value, that is 4 over here, and in the num2 variable we are grabbing the second value, that is 6 over here, and in here we are returning their sum. So num1 plus num2 is equal to 10, and we are returning 10 using this return keyword. And now I want to print the return value, so let me just type in console.log here. Okay, and then these parentheses, and then one parenthesis at the end. And if I save this and if I refresh this, then you will see the result 10 printed over here. Now let's just talk about the arrow function. So what are arrow function? Well, these are the special function that we are introduced in ES6 version of JavaScript, or you can also call this ES6 as ES 2015. And these arrow functions allow us to write shorter function syntax. Now let me give you an example of that. So up here we are doing some calculation and we are returning the value. So let me just copy this and let me paste it over here, And right now I'm going to give you an example using this function. So I'm going to implement the arrow function in this function. So let's just change this add two nums to sum. All right, and let's just delete this function and then call it const. Okay, and then const sum is equal to, so we are going to use the assignment operator here, and then a space, and up here we are going to use the fat arrow. So this is the fat arrow, an equal to sign and then an arrow sign. All right, so this is our arrow function. All right, so to create an arrow function, you just need to use the const keyword and then the function name and then the equal to sign and then the parentheses and the parameters as usual. But after that, this is just new in arrow function, and after that you just need to use the fat arrow key. So just use the fat arrow key, and after the fat arrow you just need to place these braces and the usual stuff that we've already learned before. Now if I just go ahead and console log the sum, so console log, and if I use this sum function, sum arrow function, and if I say the value will be 3 and the second value will be 2, and if I print this in the console, so let me just refresh this, and then you will see the value 5. So this is the power of arrow function. Now let me make the syntax shorter. So if you had just one line, so if you had just one line like this in an arrow function, then you can also eliminate these braces, okay, and this return keyword, so you can also eliminate that. So let me show you what I mean. So let me delete this first, and then this return keyword over here, and then these opening curly brace, and after that if I save this and if I refresh this, then you will see the same value. Now let me just change this from 2 to 3, and if I save this and if I refresh this, then you will see the value 6 over here. You can do this only when you have just one line of code inside the braces. So when you have just one line of code inside the braces, then you can eliminate the braces and the return keyword. You can also console log this. So if you want to just console log something when you have just one line and that line is just console log, then you can eliminate the braces and you can do something like this. So console.log and then the opening parenthesis and then the closing parenthesis. Now if I save this and if I refresh this over here, then you will see an undefined error here. Well, this is happening because we are already printing the value here, so we don't need to do this console log over here. So let me just comment this out. So I'm going to comment this out, and after commenting this out, you need to call the function. So I'm going to call the function using this sum keyword or the function name, that is sum, and then the first value will be 2 and the second value will be 4. And if I save this and if I refresh this, then you will see there are some 6 just like that. Alright, now let me teach you something else. You can also eliminate these parentheses when you have just one parameter. So when you have just one parameter, then you can also eliminate these parentheses. So let me create a new function for that. So const new function, I'm going to name this function as new function, and then I'm going to say name and then this fat arrow key, and then I'm going to console log the name. So console.log, and here is my name. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are creating a new arrow function, and that new arrow function is called new fun. And in the arrow function we are printing our name, but since we have just one parameter here, we can also eliminate this. So you can also eliminate this opening parenthesis and the closing parenthesis like that. And if I save this and if I call the new function here, so new fun, and if I pass it some value and if I save this and if I refresh this, then you will see my name up here. And this is all you need to know about arrow function right now. The key point to remember is that when you have just one parameter or when you have just one line of code, then you can eliminate or you can delete the return keyword, and you can delete the parentheses, and you can delete the braces. Okay, so when you have just one parameter, you can delete these parentheses, and when you have just one single line of code, then you can delete these curly braces, and when you have just one line where you are returning the value, then You can also delete that return keyword like I have shown you. And if you have any question or if you have any confusion about this arrow function, then let me know in the comments below and I'll be happy to make a new video for you. Alright, that's gonna be it for me for this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you for taking this course. It's been an amazing experience with you guys. This is the last video, so if you have any question or any comment or any video suggestion, then please make sure that you leave them down below. So that's going to be it for this course, and I'll see you perhaps in my other courses. Good luck and bye bye.